Okay, it's 8:30. We're gonna get the meeting started. I don't know where Lee is, but I think Dee is on Zoom.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good.
First item on the agenda is to acknowledge the minutes from June the 12th.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is to meet with the county engineer.
Covering public comments.
Oh,
Morning, Dwayne.
we do.
Morning, we have public comments first.
You're right. Any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, we will go on with the meeting.
All right.
We're still going to meet with the county engineer.
All right. Well, I'm here. Let's see. Last week we got back to start working on contract rock. Pretty well completed the pipe crossing on Fruitwood where we reconstructed that pond outfall. The only thing they've got left is they're putting a beaver control inlet on it so that we don't have the varmints plug up the outflow of the dam like has happened in other structures. They should have that finished today. They're building that in the shop and they'll install it tomorrow, and then the road's open now. So then that project will be done. And that is one we've got a grant from Sitka on, so we'll compile our costs and we get up to, I think, $14,000. It wasn't a big project, but every little bit helps. Dee was at the Sitka meeting last week. She'll probably cover that in her.
I was hoping you'd tell us about it.
Yeah, we've got grants for the Iris Avenue Bridge, which will be $50,000, and then also for the twin tank car installations on 225th out by where you live.
By Woodthrush Park.
Yeah, by Woodthrush Park. And that'll be work that will happen here in July and August. We'll probably do the twin tank cars first. I'm still double checking my calculations on the footings to make sure I've got those right. And I'll have another engineer put an eyeball on them just to make sure, because that is not what I do every day. Other than that, there are a couple of gentlemen who have some property just east of the Pleasant Plain sewer treatment plant that they are taking some excess soil off the Highway 78 project. And then they're going to pay the county to gravel the 1/10 extension from the landfill to their entrance. And we will be utilizing some of the soil off of 178 also to build up the road bed. So we'll be working on that off and on for the next couple of weeks up in that area. And that's really all I've got to chat about this week. We're just doing our general stuff.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on the grants from
Thank you.
Sitka.
Next item on the agenda is to set the public hearing on the resolution to vacate alleyway within the plat of Lindy found in Polk Township and conveying said alleyway to adjoining property owner. When can we set that date?
Deadline to get it to the papers would be tomorrow at 9, I believe.
Okay,
You can set it is for the 26th.
Okay.
it's next month. Correct.
But I don't have any paperwork on it to send anything to the paper. But
How about we, Elizabeth should have that, right?
I would
Or
think
Chauncey.
one of them would.
Okay. Okay, let's,
I don't know why it's crossed off. I wasn't.
okay.
obviously-
Hey.
Welcome, Lee.
Morning.
Okay, let's just move it down. Let's just not deal with it, okay?
Okay.
Consider the resolution, the next item, consider resolution offering for sale and inviting proposals to purchase the Packwood grader shed. And this has a star beside it, and I don't know what that means. Other than if we do the resolution, or probably, let me read the resolution.
The star usually means that it's been, the agenda's been revised, but it doesn't say that.
Yeah, it does not. The one thing that concerns me with this, and Lee, if you're looking at this, Dee, if you're looking at this, Jefferson County, whereas Jefferson County does not have further need of this structure and desires to sell the property to the highest bidder. And whereas Jefferson County requests any and all interested purchasers to present their offer to the Jefferson County auditor by 8:30, July 10th, 2023. My issue with this is desires to sell the property. What does that mean? The
It
shed?
should be referencing the bid document that's attached
Okay.
there.
But I don't
Yeah,
feel it
it
should just
is.
say the property. It
Yeah,
should say
it
the
is
building to
actually.
be removed.
Yes.
Okay,
Thomas and Elizabeth worked on it, is my understanding.
Yes, it should reference the bid document because
Oh, it does,
oh goody,
it does say,
Elizabeth.
it does say at the bottom,
Yeah.
proposal to remove half the space there.
I don't like this resolution
Okay,
because it doesn't, it says desires to sell the property.
I
The
thought that
property
we were
should be-
selling the shed.
I thought so too.
Is that not correct?
Yes, we are just selling the shed to be
Yes.
removed.
Yes,
So shouldn't the resolutions indicate that?
It does at the bottom.
it does.
Where, show me where. Okay,
Bidding proposal to remove.
okay. Then I'm good. I'm good. I was stuck on that line.
No, I understand.
It's Joe's fault.
It's all Joe's fault, so we can just get on with that. Okay, I would move to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Oh,
All those in favor?
hi.
Aye.
Next item is to meet with the ambulance director.
Thank
Give you
you
the
for
warm
keeping
seat.
it warm.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Abby, thank you for liking my page. Joe. Mark.
George. Henrietta.
There's another one separate to 26.
I saw you do this
No, different.
yesterday. Yeah, you did? Okay.
Okay,
I thought it was early.
so you saw Lee yesterday. Good for you. What
I
else?
did. We have our initial service authorization application in. We are 6 weeks ahead of schedule. I'm working with the hospital also and coming up with a pharmacy agreement. I met with them the other day. And also we're going to be working this week on our transportation agreement with the hospital as well.
Have you started that?
We are in negotiations, but I'll be working with Chauncey on that as well.
Okay.
So also met with Image Trend. They're going to give us a proposal for their our computers, and we are getting 2 computers today, 10:30. So it's gonna be nice.
So you need this to be done by 10:30. So you can do it.
If you don't mind,
Okay.
that would be lovely. Thank you. Also, our budget, we are completed with that. Julie's going to be turning that in today. Let's see, what else?
You're talking the budget for next year, correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am. And we are we have our Facebook page up. We have a new logo. We have some shirts made. We'll be presenting.
You have shirts made?
We have two.
Oh, okay.
We have two.
And have you hired anybody yet?
We have, how many applications do we have, Judy?
I have 4 paramedics and 6 EMTs that are ready.
Yes.
But have you hired?
No, we're interviewing in July.
Okay.
Right now, we're just collecting resumes, looking over the resumes, and then call out for interviews.
Good.
I'm going to start on Indeed today. That'll go out today for EMTs and paramedics. See, that's
July 1,
license. Sorry.
July 1 license.
Yes, I am working on our GMT with the state right now to get us a year ahead. So if we get approved by July 1st to be transport for Medicaid, we can have that a year in advance. So instead of 2025, it's 2024.
So to be clear, if you are approved by the 1st of July,
Correct.
you can get that stuff early.
That's correct.
Okay.
And I am working on that. I've already sent out emails and they have responded. So I'm just waiting for a yes. So prayers.
Well,
And that's about it. And so we're moving right along. We're ahead of schedule and I like that.
sure. So where all of you advertise?
We have advertised on our Facebook page and we have shared that, but nowhere else.
I am so.
I am so, thank you.
Hey, Brian, you might want to put it on the county website.
Yes, ma'am, we are going to be doing that as
Yeah,
well.
because I looked this morning, there are no job listings, and that would be a good place to put it.
Okay. And I'll get that done
And
today.
you're going to use Indeed, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Well, you know, we're still getting applicants for your position on Indeed.
Nice. No one hopefully more qualified than I.
I didn't have, it doesn't have anything to do with you, it has a lot to do with Indeed.
Understood.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Is there something we don't know you want to tell us?
No,
Okay.
no, everything's good so far.
How about the pool?
We don't talk about my pool anymore. That's a bad subject. I'm having tore out and pouring in a gigantic hot tub. Contributions are welcome. No, everything's good. Everything's good. So,
Oh, it's good to see that you're on top of things. Let's go back to the public hearing on the resolution vacating alleyways in Lindy. Now that Elizabeth is here.
Yeah, this is a request that came from an attorney who's representing her client and client's estate. And basically, it's just an alley, I guess it's an alleyway, but it looks like a driveway that just goes straight to her property. There's only one adjoining property owner. I'll send them a letter. So I don't know when you'd like to set that public hearing.
I believe before most of the supervisors got here, we decided the 26th. But then we thought we'd postpone it. It's the 26th of June, okay? Which is a week from today. Abby has to have it in the paper by 9 a.m. tomorrow, correct?
I think I'd maybe like just an extra period of time in order to get letters to that adjoining property owner, not knowing where he currently resides.
Okay.
And we do have a public hearing set for another vacation request on the 26th, and those letters have gone out and been received. There's one individual who
So what day is the 26th not good for you?
I think later would be
Okay,
my preference.
So July 5th or July 10th.
how's July 10th?
10th.
Okay,
I'll make a motion July 10th at 9 o'clock for the public hearing.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to drop down to discuss, consider hiring of Haley,
9 AM, is that
Yeah.
what we said?
discuss and consider hiring Haley Criswell as a seasonal employee for the County Conservation Board. Any comment, Sean?
She's just gonna help us with seasonal help this summer,
Yeah.
maybe in the early fall.
I make a motion to hire Haley Criswell.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sean, thank you very much. Discuss and consider a letter of support for the, where am I at here? Cedar View Trail.
Sean's been working on this for a few years now, and Ashley from Pathfinder sent this to me and asked for some board support. And Sean, if you want to talk a little more about it.
Yeah, I think Ashley's working on a state rec trail grant. We have a plan and a design to hard surface the Cedar View Trail, which is south of Suburban Heights, about a 1.2 mile railroad, old railroad right of way that runs off to the west. And it's level and it's pretty much ready, got a good base. And we got 318,000 approved for 2026 through a different DOT grant called the TAP grant. But that only covers, that's like, we asked for like 500,000, so we're short a little. And that's why we're pursuing other grants right now. We have, what is it, 20, we've got a couple of years yet to bring in some other money, so hoping to do that either through this grant or some other grants, but this is just kind of a thing to throw in the grant to make it look like everybody's on board in the county.
Thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean, how much matching funds is needed for this?
Well, the cost estimate, and this is probably a couple years old now, so the way things are going, I hope it'll be enough with 720,000. And that was for concrete. And we have the 318, and then the Conservation Board had, I don't remember exactly, but like 140 to 160 that we were gonna kick in, so we're still short a couple 100,000. And I haven't seen the grant application that Ashley's working on, but I assume she's actually asking for 200,000 or 300,000 through this latest grant. The DOT has several different transportation alternative type grants for trails and that kind of thing. So we're just gonna start putting in for those and hopefully get funded in the next couple of years and have all that money in place by 2026 when our other money's available.
So you reached out to Chris Kukla at Area 15 Regional Planning for the potential enhancement dollars in RPA?
Yeah, we just had a meeting last Friday.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that there, but that's how we got this first batch of money. And yeah, he's aware of our project, and it's just a matter of us going after these other opportunities. And then there'll be some other outside. There used to be a Wellmark grant, which I heard is no longer intact or available, but we're going to look for some other money as well besides just the DOT stuff. And I think there's some REAP money, but we got to start on it now just because it takes a little time to go through the grant process. And 2026 to me sounds like it's a little ways off, but it'll get here if we don't start moving.
I'll make a motion that we have our chair sign the letter of support for the Cedar View Trail.
I second that motion. The thing is, though, the letter of support has your name on it, Dee.
That was supposed to have been changed. I asked when I sent that in to put it on letterhead and change it to Susie. So if
Okay,
it hasn't been changed, I would ask that be changed.
Abby wants everybody to know she was not here. It's not her fault. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider a resolution in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office for promotion and salary increase for Christopher Mickles, Correctional Officer. Want to tell us a little bit about that, Laura?
Also attached to the resolution should be a job description for both of them. There's two resolutions. So these are some of the duties Chris is currently doing now without the promotion. We don't currently have a staff sergeant. We had one a few years back. So Chris has been filling in some of these added duties that's in his job description.
So is this a new position?
It hadn't been filled for a few years. So it's, yeah, there's nobody in that spot right now.
Okay.
But there was before.
Make a motion to approve Christopher Brian Nichols for the new staff sergeant position, to refill that position.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Word.
Minimus is.
Is that what's okay? Take your word for it.
Okay.
Abby, we really need a dictionary in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Susie. I appreciate that.
The next item on the agenda is discuss and consider resolution in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office for promotion and salary increase for, is it Suhata Brooklyn?
Sujata.
Sujata? Okay, Brooklyn.
So also her job description is attached. She would actually fill the position Chris would do.
Okay, in other words, just moving up.
Yes.
Motion approved.
So in other words, she's going to be, Bart, I just saw this. She's going to be making $51,462 or 62 cents yearly. Does that without the $4,000 raise, or does she get the $4,000 raise? Because that's
No,
not
that's
in here.
what she would be making July 1.
Okay, in other words, she doesn't get that.
That's what the sergeant rate went to.
Okay.
Effective July 1.
Okay.
So she would go from a correction officer to a sergeant. So that's what was set for sergeant rate
Okay.
for July 1.
Okay.
Nothing changed there. If that makes sense.
Did you make a
I
motion?
did,
I'll second the motion.
because I was watching Joe and the motions back and forth. Yeah, so.
He's not steady. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bart, thanks very much. Make committee reports.
If I may, request of the chair.
Bart, thank you.
I would like to have a quick conversation. I apologize to the board for being late. Dwayne, I'm sure you're probably aware of this, but there's a property up in Abington. I've got pictures here that I can sit down with you, but the property lines are a significant distance from the road leading into the cemetery. property owner apparently thinks that his property extends out past the county right away to the road and has put railroad ties and other obstacles there, which makes it extremely difficult for persons using the cemetery and funerals and stuff to be able to turn around without. And I'm not sure whether or not we go in and gravel that a little bit and widen that, make that known, but I printed these out if you want to look at them.
You know, Lee, I suggest you give this to Dwayne, have him look at the situation so we can vote on those.
I spoke with a gentleman out there a year ago who asked about getting one of those, is that the east-west or the north-south route?
I get turned around up in Abigail Hill, I can't tell you.
There's one that runs right off of Brookville Road straight into the cemetery.
Yes.
And then there's another one that runs at a right angle to that on what I would consider the north side of that gentleman's property, probably northeast.
Yeah, would be Madison Street's the one that goes
parallel to Brookville Road.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Straight in.
Yeah, I'll just,
So Dwayne, will
I
you
spoke
deal with that?
Yeah, I spoke with one gentleman about him asking if we,
it's this area here.
doesn't know what to do without my glasses.
I appreciate that.
So moving along, do we have any more committee reports?
I had Regional Utility Service Systems on Wednesday. Actually, things are moving pretty smooth. We're still dealing with some issues with Ollie, trying to get that resolved as far as the dollar figures and stuff go. And then we went to Rich Stokes's, the dedication for Rich Stokes naming the Little League Park after Rich Stokes after 48 years of being a Little League coach in Challenger League. He'd like to do a couple more years. It was a good turnout, well deserved. He's mentored a lot of kids in that 48 years, and it was kind of when Coach Ron Hunter asked all of the people who had played for or against that were there, Rich to come out and stand in the field next to him. And he said, some of you are probably pushing 60. I got to thinking, if you were 12 years old 48 years ago, you'd be 60 years old. So it was just kind of an amazing moment to think about. But Rich Stokes is he's been, like I say, a phenomenal mentor of kids and well-deserved. And just thumbs up to Rich.
Thank you. Dee?
Yeah, I had several meetings last week. Dwayne already talked about Sitka, and he got a couple grants, which is great. Legislature forgot to appropriate money for it for next year. They'll be okay. And Ken Rosenboom said they'd already wouldn't forget that next year, so they'll be okay. Criminal justice, it was really interesting. I'm new on that board. You know, they're merging. Community-based corrections is merging with Department of Corrections. So it was very interesting to listen to the discussion of how that's going. I believe with all the mergers in state government and departments, that's one of the few that was not already a state department. So there's a lot of, waiting to see how things are going to be, because the local services are working quite well and they want to make sure that they keep on working. Mental Health Agency, Southeast Iowa is the new name for SEAL and for Southern Iowa Mental Health. We officially, the 2080 was approved. So we had 2 meetings last week. One was the previous SEAL board approving everything to join with the new board. And after that is where we have only 5 supervisors of 12 are going to be on the governance board. I am going to be one of those supervisors, so I'll continue on that. And we're all waiting to see the other supervisors can be on an advisory committee. That's the same thing that I saw with the Department of Corrections also. A lot of those supervisors voiced that they're not interested in being on an advisory board. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out and how we as supervisors get input, because part of the merger at the state is, again, less authority for supervisors in terms of the state only wants us to have 49% control instead of a majority.
Hey, Dee, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I understand, I think, the logic behind that thought process of the 49%, but the thing that concerns me is, and I realize that the state is currently paying for this, and maybe they'll keep a lid on it. I find that hard to believe, but maybe they will. I don't know. What concerns me is that the potential for county tax dollars to be involved somewhere along the way in boards of supervisors. And I assume that those 49% supervisors will rotate from county to county over a period of time. But what concerns me is that at some point, we're going to have entities determining how tax dollars are to be used and taking control away from the local board of supervisors.
Well, the rest of the governance board, in the case of mental health, will be made up of people within the region. And there'll be like children's mental health. And they usually look for somebody that has lived experience, a parent of a child that uses their services. The same with the advisory for the adult. Like Tracy Liptak has been recommended to be on that, and she's very well qualified. So it's just going to be a different makeup of the board. You'll have people within the region that are either have experience receiving or providing services. It's just that the elected officials have less voting authority since it's no longer local tax dollars.
I'm not questioning those folks' knowledge in the world of mental health as far as that part of this is concerned. I'm questioning whether or not programs will be created, things will come to pass that eventually are going to end up in our lap and us having to fund it and not having jurisdiction or control over those conversations. And so I'm just asking, since you are representing us and the other supervisors, to make sure that they do everything in their power to, and I realize right now this is state funded, but I also know that the state has stepped in and funded mental health before in the last several years and then bailed on it. I'm just concerned that when we get this back, which I'm convinced we will, that well, you know where I'm coming from. So
yeah, nobody has that crystal ball, Lee. So I guess we just have to be diligent and do the best we can with the dollars we have.
Anything else, Lee?
No.
Dee, you have anything else?
No.
I'm on the Extension Council, and of course, everybody should know, if they don't, the county fair is this week. The parade is tomorrow night, which should be interesting. But there's a lot going on at the fair this year. If you have time, stop out. Okay. Should be good. Anyway, other than that, I have nothing else to report.
So we want to do early childhood today.
No. I did my time.
I know, and you're very good at it. So I just.
Next time on the agenda is to allow claims and approve reports.
So moved.
I second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Is by any chance Melanie Carlson on?
I don't think so.
Motion to adjourn.
So,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.